I'm Tim Polasek, head football coach at North Dakota State University.
And we're running a football program here, and I want America to know that.
They're going to take a look.
And we're back, baby.
And you're watching Bison Overtime.
We welcome you inside our Fargo studios and the Season 8 premiere of the Bison Overtime Show. We are presented by the NDSU Bookstore and powered by Under Armour. I'm Grant Hubbard, Peter Evelka, and Ethan Ibach alongside. We are so excited to be back for another season of the Bison Overtime Show. And boys, Bison football is back.
Yeah, it was a long summer waiting for this show, waiting for this week of football, but I enjoyed the summer, and it's good to be back.
There's just an excitement going on in Fargo right now. Just amped up for Saturday.
Yeah, I think just starting off the show with what I think we're excited about, a lot of these players being named to national award lists, not like, the Rice and the Peyton. We're talking like big awards. So the Big Narek Award, Keenan Wilson's now on that watch list, and we're projecting that this Bison defensive line, probably the deepest group on the team, as I talked about with Keenan back on Media Day. How cool is that? We got a guy like this on a national award list.
Yeah, and not only that, the Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Year, Jackson Williams, got
right
for that. So there's a lot of national recognition you can get now that they're at the FBS level, but definitely very cool.
Yeah.
And it's nice that there's a national recognition of NDSU in these ballots or in these special awards. I think this is the first of many.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of leaked out some over the summer, kind of our predictions for the polls and the CFP and stuff. So let's start off with our polls in the Mountain West. Ethan, you're first. So what stands out to you with your poll?
Yeah, so I think UNLV, it's widely thought that they're going to be that #1 team in the Mountain West, and I think 2 through 4, everyone agrees who those teams are. It's just a matter of the order. I went NDSU at 3. I think Hawaii's going to struggle a bit in the trenches. I think they got a lot of playmakers though. And then pretty much 5 and 6, I think all of us agreed on Air Force and Wyoming. But
yep.
Nevada, Northern Illinois, and San Jose State, some people can think of put them a little higher, a little lower. Everyone knows UTEP's the worst team. They were horrible in Conference USA. They're going to be bad in this conference. And we'll see my tier list coming up here, but it kind of hints towards this.
And then, speaking of your tier list, that's what I kind of base this off of. We know what the top 4 teams are going to be in the league, but it's a matter of fact of, hey, what's the order going to be 5 through 6? But then it's like 7 through 10. It's just a wild card. We don't understand, or we know who's the starters now.
Right.
We just announced on all my ESPN updates this morning.
Yep.
But there's just so much to unexpect in the Mountain West for the quarterback play.
So what stands out to you as you look at your poll here, 1 through 10?
Pretty much kind of copy paste of Ibach, but with the 7 through 10 range, I really, with the quarterbacks and everything, the schedules, there's a lot of coaches fighting for their jobs, but I really don't know what to expect. All I know is that UTEP and Northern Illinois, it's kind of the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But no, I'm super excited to watch the triple offense, and then Wyoming's going to improve this year, but I feel like Air Force Wyoming is just going to be a grab for that 5 spot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, looking at mine as well for the last one, I got the Bison lower than the rest of us. I have them at 4. I got to see it. I know the top 3 teams, UNLV, Hawaii, and New Mexico. New Mexico, got a lot of FCS guys like NDSU, so we'll see how that mixes up and goes on. Hawaii, they have a potential Heisman guy in Mike Alejado, who's a really, really good passer. Again, UNLV, probably maybe the best all-around roster going into the season. NDSU, they play all of those teams on the road, and Air Force, who I have behind them. Wyoming, don't know about that offense. NIU, and now if Teron Dickens, they have some sort of threat at the quarterback position. Then San Jose State, Nevada, and UTEP as well. So the official Mountain West poll that we have put together, we have the Bison at 3. Anything else stand out about our 10? We've already kind of gone through it, but anything else stand out?
I think we're a little bit higher on it's surprising. I think we're higher on New Mexico than most.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree we're close to putting New Mexico at 1, but UNLV is just a little better than them overall.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees in the last 4. I think it's just kind of wait and see what's going to happen.
And to your point, Ibach, we know what we're getting with New Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just, the quarterback play might be a question this year, but that defense is going to be the best in the conference. With UNLV, we have questions about their defense. They have all this talent in the world, but Dan Mullen's known for his offense. So that offense is going to power them through the Mountain West schedule. But a lot of these games, there are some gimmies, but there aren't many gimmies in the top 5.
There's no Murray, UNI, none of those in there. So let's go from our conference polls to our national polls. No FCS top 25s, those are gone. RIP to the top 25 polls. But Let's go on to our top 25 polls. We also released these on our X and Instagram a while ago, but Ethan, take us to your top 25.
Yeah, I think, Ohio State I'm really high on. Jeremiah Smith's best player in college football overall. They have the quarterback returning. 1 through 5 I was pretty set on. I think I'm higher on LSU than most. You can think about whatever you want about Lane Kiffin. I think he's going to do a good job at LSU. Notre Dame and Miami, that's going to be a premier matchup. I got them at the 6th and the 7th spot. Indiana, a lot of people are putting them in their top 5 now, and I'm probably going to get clowned for this, putting them at 8 because Kurt Cignetti's proved us all wrong many times. But the back end where I really struggled was 18 through 25 because I feel like the top 17 teams, I'm lower on Bama than most in Tennessee. USC, this is Lincoln Riley's team. Like if he's not going to make it now, I don't know when. But the back 8 teams, I was just kind of like, put them where you want them, and yeah, I moved on. But yeah, that's my top 25.
Let's go to Peter's. Peter, your top 25.
So we have Texas at the number 1 spot. Ohio State received 38 of the top of the first place votes in the AP poll. I believe was that poll released last week. Yeah, and then I have Indiana 5. I can't doubt him.
Yeah,
he proved us all wrong last year. The only question I have is with the TCU transfer Hoover at the quarterback position. I have Notre Dame at 6, Miami at 7. If I would have known now that, hey guys, the transfer portal is still open, I guess.
Yeah.
I would have flip-flopped A&M and LSU because LSU just snagged a bunch of players from the portal, which is
including some from the NFL.
Yeah. And I didn't know we could sign pro contracts.
I guess we can.
And then I have Oklahoma, Texas Tech with the loss of Sorsby. I have them at 12. It's just there's questions. The defense is going to be stout there. Bama 13. They have Austin Mack is not the starter. I thought he was going to be the starter this year, but then you get to like 18 through 25. I'm surprised I'm the only one that has a G5 team in the top 25 with the UNLV at the 24th spot. Tennessee is going to be a sleeper. They have a true freshman starting at quarterback.
Right.
Penn State, I think they're going to go 11-1, but that schedule is just
it's cake.
Yeah, but no, that's pretty much it. You got USC. This is a prove it year for Riley, as you said. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, let's go to mine. I got Indy at number 1 because I kind of go under the rule that you're number 1 until you're knocked off. So if Josh Hoover can vacuum in wins for the Hoosiers, then all power to him. Top 5, pretty much we've all kind of tackled kind of the same. I have Ohio State at 2, Oregon 3, Georgia 4, and Texas at 5. I got Miami in front of Notre Dame because I think Miami's going to beat Notre Dame later in the year, so that's what I'm going with there. You guys kind of hammer. I'm higher on Penn State. I like Penn State. I have them at 19 right now. I could easily see them getting into the playoff. But yeah, I don't have any group of 6 in here. I got to see it. Group of 6 is the ultimate prove it. We know what the top 15 teams are going to do. Michigan, who knows? And Oklahoma, I got a hot take with Oklahoma later in the show. But it's going to be an interesting year in college football, especially at the bottom of the poll. So our combined poll, when you take a look at our combined top 25, anything that sticks out? I mean, we all have kind of the same. We all kind of had that same group of teams at the top. But anything stand out to you guys in our top 25?
I think Florida. Florida has been down quite a bit over the last really 20 years since Urban Meyer was left.
Right.
And they've had some years, pop up out of nowhere with Dan Mullen had a good year, and last year there was a lot of expectations there. It did not pan out. Maybe it'll be this year. You just don't know. But other than that, I mean, Michigan and Bama I think are in the same boat for me. It's like you don't know where they're going to go. They could have a catastrophic year, or they could surprise us and get into the CFP. Yeah, we're just going to have to see.
I really hope that the SEC bias doesn't come back to bite us.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this poll, and it's weird when you compile them all together, but having, 5 SEC teams on the top 5, and then that 18 to 25 range is just a hodgepodge of SEC teams that may break it or not for a top 25 poll.
Yeah, so that's our top 25. Then the receiving votes on there, we got Clemson, Virginia Tech, Houston, UNLV, and Virginia all got receiving votes. New segment we're going to introduce to you this year. Our hot takes will be a little different than they were in the past. So our hot takes this semester are sponsored by Insomnia Cookies. We appreciate Insomnia for their partnership with the Bison Overtime show. So we each have one hot take that we're going to share every week based on the college football season. As you see, we got 9 baked fresh cookies right in front of us. So here's my hot take for you. One of the AP top 10 teams will fall completely out of the rankings by the end of the season. I get a bonus point if I get the team right. This has happened quite frequently that one AP top 10 falls out. I'm going to give you the team. I think it's Oklahoma. They're top 10 in my poll. However, They play at Michigan. They host New Mexico. You might think, what's New Mexico? One of the better group of 6 teams. They go to Athens. They host Texas. They go to Gainesville. They play at home against Ole Miss. They play home to Texas A&M. They go at Missouri. I don't know. I don't feel good about Oklahoma being in the top 25 by the end of the season. Brent Venables just got a contract extension. Sure, but I don't think that's going to mean a ton. I don't see John Mateer having as good of a season as he had last year. I think Oklahoma falls out of the polls.
Yeah, I agree. I think this happened. It happened last year. Penn State was number 2. A lot of people had them winning the whole thing, and it was just a train wreck. They fired James Franklin. Could easily see it happening. But my hottest college football take is not really a prediction, more of just a take. I think College Game Day needs to go to more non-Power 4s and specifically more non-SEC and Big Ten schools. Power 4 has barely gone to G6 or FCS venues. They've been to just one since 2023, and that was our friends over at JMU.
Right.
So I think, not asking them to come to NDSU because they just moved up and whatever, but it'd be nice to see some more smaller schools get some recognition. When they went to Bozeman in 22, that was really fun to
cool.
watch.
Yeah.
They went to JMU in, I think, 16, or I can't remember what year it was, but it was. It's just fun to see small towns get recognition, and ESPN gets more bias as the years go on, so I can't expect it, but hoping for it.
Going to my take now, Oklahoma State is going to have 8 wins this season, and they will compete for a share of the Big 12. Explosive offenses thrive in the Big 12, plus they have an easy in-conference schedule. Grant, so guess how many points North Texas scored last year on average?
On average.
So every game.
It was like 48 or something like that?
Yeah, 45 points.
Okay, that was close.
It ranked first in the FBS. What does North Texas do? Well, they lose their coach to Oklahoma State. They bring in all the offensive pieces around him, including one of my Heisman dark horses, Drew Westamaker. Mm-hmm. And then they bring their all-purpose running back over. Only question is going to be the defense. But in the Big 12, offenses thrive. They have Oregon on the schedule, but they have a lot of Big 12 winnable games. And so that's why I have them winning 8 times this year, and including the Big 12 where it's wide open. I think they're going to compete for a conference championship.
But don't overlook that tough non-conference game with Murray State. And you don't overlook Murray State because you never know. But so those were this week's hot takes. They are baked fresh by Insomnia Cookies. Again, we appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. So let's move on now as we go towards make sure you check out their PJ party coming up in about on September 15th from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Get a free cookie if you arrive in your PJs. So let's move on. So Ethan's tier list makes a reappearance this year. Ibog, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so we're gonna mix it up. Sometimes it'll be a Mountain West tier list, sometimes it'll be a G6 tier list, sometimes an all college football tier list. This week it is the Mountain West tier list for week 0. And my tier 1 is CFP hopes. Now, these 3 teams I think are looking to win the conference. If you win your conference, you got a chance at the CFP. UNLV has the toughest. Well, both UNLV and New Mexico have tough schedules, so they'd have a chance to make it. Hawaii, I'm putting in this tier. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if they can really stop anybody, but we'll have to see. But I got Hawaii, UNLV, and New Mexico with CFP hopes and trying to win the conference. And we move to tier 2. We have no clue what to expect, really. I think we kind of can. Like, they're going to win games. We don't know how good they're going to be, but I go back to February when this whole announcement came out, and we all are like, look at the Mountain West, and we're like, they could win this conference right away. And then it went back to now everyone thinks, it almost feels like they were overrated right away, and now they're kind of getting underrated a little bit. Like, people are saying, 6-6, 7-5. I'm more in the 8-4, 9-3 boat.
Right.
So, but we still don't know what to expect. So I got them in tier 2, right in between where tier 3 is. Wyoming and Air Force, expect improvement.
Okay.
Air Force went 4-8 last year, and 3 of those 8 losses were by 1 score. Now, you can go to any team schedule and say if you flip-flop that 1-score game and a win, but I mean, they could easily have been 7-5 and bowl eligible. Wyoming had an atrocious offense last year. I think that'll at least improve a little bit. We saw Wyoming talking a little garbage at NDSU in the media already, so I think that rivalry's already coming. But these 2 teams I think are going to be bowl eligible this year, but just never know. Air Force triple option, it'll be fun to watch as we move into tier 4. Could improve, but probably not. Our friend Jeff Choate at Nevada, I think his nightmares are going to return when he returns to Fargo.
Probably, yeah.
17th of October. San Jose State is very mediocre. I think they're going to honestly get a little worse looking at their roster and what they got coming back. Nevada plays a little bit of defense, offense bad, really bad last year. Don't see improvement there. The last tier, let's win a Mountain West game. And it's probably whoever wins this matchup. Northern Illinois, I think, could be sneaky and maybe sneak a second win.
Yep.
I think, the addition of Taron Dickens maybe could give them a flash on offense. UTEP's going to be bad. I think they're going to go 2-10. I think those 2 wins are going to be in a non-conference play. But, yeah, tier list returns. It's going to be fun to do this all fall.
What do we think about it, Peter?
It's the first time I've ever experienced a IBLOC, tier list. I love it. I mean, if you look at those are like, if you include NDSU in that tier 1 topic, those are all valid takes on why each one should have college football playoff hopes. Because they have starters that can compete in the Power 4 levels, and the Mountain West is going to be so competitive this year. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, with San Jose State, we talked with Niles Hall out on San Jose. It's just they can score. I just don't think they can stop anybody. But Nevada, I think they're the opposite. I don't think they can score.
Yeah.
Maybe they can stop somebody. It's a Jeff Choate team, so maybe they play a lick of defense, but we'll find out. I think you can maybe move Air Force into that tier 2 if you wanted to, because they got a really decent quarterback. They have a really decent team. We'll see what comes of that. But I think for week 0, pretty good tier list to start us off on. So as we move on, conference opener, North Dakota State, September 12th, as the Bison will face the Air Force Falcons, but the Bison have 2 non-conference games, and the first of 2 is a familiar foe to some of you of FCS. The 2015 FCS runner-ups visit the Dome. That's Jacksonville State. So to get more info on NDSU's Week 0 opponent, we introduce to you a new segment called the Opponent Preview, which will be an interview conducted each week with a student journalist representing a student media outlet from the University of the Bison we'll be playing against that week. So to give us the lowdown on the Gamecocks, here's my conversation with Sam Napoli and Jaden Gainey of the Chanticleer student newspaper and WLJS 91.9 radio, respectively. Guys, take it away.
All right, for this week's opponent profile, we are joined by Sam Napoli of the Chanticleer student newspaper and Jaden Gainey of WLJS 91.9 FM at Jacksonville State. Thanks, guys, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
All right, so first off, what's the excitement level like in Jacksonville as this much anticipated Week 0 opener between the Gamecocks and Bison draws closer?
With football down here in the South especially, I would say excitement level is pretty high. Last year kind of ended on a very high note, but the conference season ended on a really sour note because losing to Kennesaw State, it's a team that we had beat just a couple of weeks before, and it was done at home. So kind of a weird mixed feeling to the end of last season, but longtime rival Troy is who we took down in the Salute to Veterans Bowl as well. But trying to expand on that, lost a key player on Cam Cook, who was close to, if not led, all the country in rushing yards last year. So
yeah, almost 1,600 yards, right?
I believe so.
Yep, 600 all-purpose. Yep,
pretty crazy. Definitely a high excitement level, but also a bit of mystery, just kind of not knowing how to feel exactly.
What was your first reaction when you saw that Jacksonville State was going to open the 2026 season in Fargo, of all places, against the former FCS foe North Dakota State?
I know that a lot of students at Jacksonville State thought that was pretty exciting. Knowing y'all, the Bison have definitely run the FCS table for the last couple of years, longer than that. It was pretty exciting to see that announcement, but also from the older Jack State alumni and fans and stuff like that, people have been around the program the longest. It's a rematch of the 2015 national championship, the FCS one. That's a pretty elite rematch to have, especially now that we're both in the FBS and we're both different programs than we were back then. And at Media Day, that was a lot of the talk of the players were that they're excited to play Kennesaw State again to kind of get that rematch from last year's conference championship that Sam was talking about. But they're really excited to go to Fargo. They're really excited to go to North Dakota State and play the y'all's program, the huge stadium. They're excited. The players are excited. The students are excited. And the alumni we're all pretty ready for this matchup.
Do either of you remember watching the 2015 championship game?
I do not.
Yeah,
I'm not a native of here. I'm from the north, so I definitely was not watching. But
do you, Jaden?
I do not remember it. I was high school, and I was an Alabama fan at that point. I remember hearing about it. I do remember hearing about it and seeing Carson Wentz. And I know Carson Wentz was a big game for him and obviously led to a pretty successful NFL career. So I remember it happening, but I did not watch it live, unfortunately.
Let's just say this, fellas. I was 10 years old, and I loved every freaking second of that game. So wow. I remember that game really
Carson
well.
Wentz, though, I mean, wasn't he was the quarterback, wasn't he?
He was. I was told, though, there was a column that somebody wrote in Jacksonville State. It wasn't anybody from you guys. It was somebody from one of your local media outlets said the best quarterback in FCS was Eli Jenkins, the Jacksonville State quarterback, not Carson. So I think Carson may have taken that to heart. All right. So Gamecocks moved up to FBS in 2023. Since then, 3 9-win seasons, 2 bowl wins, and a conference title. What's made the Gamecocks that most recent FCS to FBS success story in your guys' minds?
I mean, it's got to be the coaching. Rich Rod did a very good job the couple years he was here before Coach Kelly. But Coach Kelly, since he's taken over the reins, he's built a whole different program. Like the vibe is different. When you talk to players, it's a lot of they mentioned that his determination to get the job done. If he wants something to happen, he's going to make it happen. And also the recruiting has stepped up. The transfers have stepped up. We've had a lot of influx in talent. And honestly, like this last transfer portal, we saw so many great players leave and get replaced by players that were so fantastic. Like it's been a pretty crazy turnaround of talent here at Jacksonville State, but we've been keeping it up. Like it's really just the coaching. I have to credit the coaching.
And something else that I'll say to add to that is I feel as though the university has also kind of entered another level of commitment to the football program. Just even as something as simple as we have a bowling team now, right, here at Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
And they've won back-to-back national championships.
Heard about that. Yeah, that's impressive.
I believe the story behind that is they needed another women's sport
for Title IX, right?
For Title IX, right, to be an FBS school. So I feel like the school is starting to put a lot more resources and even just kind of peripheral resources like that into investing into the football team and starting to pay off for them a little bit more.
Would you definitely say you're more successful as an FBS team than you were as an FCS program?
Ooh. Funny enough, we actually have a story in our magazine that we're putting out this week about kind of what the historic success, what success looks like at the beginning historically. I would say yes, as of right now, through 3 years, yes, because one of 2 programs ever to go to a bowl game in their first 3 seasons of eligibility. They joined, was it Marshall, I believe, might have been the other one?
I think Marshall's right.
Marshall's the other one. So from that standpoint, it's pretty incredible. And there is some loophole to that, right? Like the rules have changed and they got in because there was a team that didn't go to a bowl game back in 23. But it still is something to be said, right? So historically, I would say yes, I believe so.
Let's talk about the football a little bit. So what are the expectations for Caden Creel, senior quarterback? Because he passed for just over 1,100 yards, but he threw for over 1,000 yards and 7 TDs. So what are the expectations for Caden at quarterback?
Well, at media day, Coach Kelly and the entire offense spoke very highly of him. He kind of came into because we started Gavin Wimsatt at the beginning of last season, and Caden Creel came in through Southern Miss, right? His first game was Howard through Southern Miss, and he just kept getting better as the season went on. So as and they like to say that there's a position battle at quarterback, and I'm sure there is, but Caden Creel is pretty cemented as far as the experience goes and how much better he's gotten. So depending on the confidence levels as a day one starter, we could be seeing a great group of 5 quarterback here. He could be fantastic. He's got the talent. We saw it last season. So I guess we'll just see how he responds to the length of a season, the full season. But no, there's no question that he's got the ability to back it up. So
I do think there.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I do think there is something to be said about his arm talent, though, for sure. Because even when he was playing throughout last year, there were still some question marks. They would bring Gavin Wimsatt into situational plays just to throw the ball. So it still was something a little bit strange. We know that Caden Creel's a freak athlete. He can just kind of make plays. And as you said, he runs the ball extremely well. I think there is still some question as to just how much talent he has passing the ball. But the beginning of the season is going to be a real litmus test for that, for sure.
Give me some names of guys who are kind of the backbone of this team on the offense and defense. Who are some of those guys that Bison fans should look like, okay, I got to watch out for this guy on the 29th? Who are some of those guys, do you think?
There's one guy as a receiver. He is unbelievably tall. I believe he's 6'8". DeAndre
6'8"
Johnson.
receiver. Not many of those in college football.
Yeah, DeAndre Johnson. And last year, I will say, there were some times where he definitely frustrated the fan base because he had some issues dropping the ball, for sure. But he's got real big play potential. He's not slow either. He's tall. He's got some speed to him. And he makes big plays. He's kind of a boomer bust kind of guy because he doesn't make a lot of simple plays, but he's got big play potential. So he's definitely one. I think about the offensive line. Murachkovsky, he's the center. I believe he might be in his 5th year now, even.
That sounds right. I think he's a 5th year.
I believe he's a 5th-year guy. He has been pretty much a mainstay. Like last year, he was a huge reason, if you ask a lot of people, why their offensive line was able to hold up. They ran the ball so well. He definitely is a building block of that.
And then Max Sanders on the defensive end, true sophomore linebacker, had an excellent freshman season, true freshman season. Just held down about an average linebacker core. I wouldn't say our linebackers are anything like special other than him. I mean, we've gotten better talent wise, obviously with the transfer portal, but last season was a little rough at that position group. But even more so, Caleb Nix. Caleb Nix is the talk of the defense. They call him the coach. He's another coach on the team. Charles Kelly had so many good things to say about him, and we talked to Caleb Nix. He really is trying to focus on getting these young guys better. That's his last year. The Clemson transfer had a great year last year. He was probably our best defensive player last season. He's really the guy to watch, honestly. He's going to have a fantastic season. I don't know. There's not enough good things to say about Caleb Nix.
He's a flashy name, right? Like his brother's an NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So
and his dad played quarterback at Auburn. He's got some good genes there, I would say, in the Nix family. In Fargo, we've been talking about who the rival would be at FBS because the Bison had South Dakota State. We play for the marker thing above my shoulder here that we no longer play for, and then of course, University of North Dakota. Who's the rival for Jacksonville State? Is it Troy or is it somebody else?
I think right now in football specifically,
it's probably Kennesaw
State. Yeah.
Kennesaw? Okay.
Well, historically, Troy has been the rival.
Right. They're in Alabama already, right?
But scheduling, we haven't played Troy. It's been the first time we played Troy since 20 years ago. Was the last time we played Troy since last season. So Troy has definitely been our rival, 100% throughout history. But since moving to Conference USA, I mean, there's been a couple teams that we go to war against. Western Kentucky being one, Liberty, and this is throughout all sports. But recently, the Kennesaw State, especially since they're an hour away, hour 20, right outside of Atlanta. That's one that it's definitely it's a heated matchup every time. And I know that a lot of the players wanted their get back from last season too. So that's definitely the matchup this season to be the heated rivalry. But yeah, some of those Conference USA teams, they come to fight in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the biggest matchup, or that X factor matchup, is going to be? Whether the Gamecocks leave Fargo with a win, what's that matchup you're looking at?
I think part of it is just the unknown of what is the run game going to look like. I mean, you lose the best running back maybe in the sport. I mean, very debatable, but
at least in G6, you make that case.
Yeah, statistically, I mean, the best from a year ago. You lose that guy, he goes to West Virginia. What is the run game going to look like now? Because they relied so heavily on it to get the bulk of their yardage, and I don't know if that's something that Coach Kelly really is looking to change, especially with a very similar passing game as far as personnel goes. That's really the X factor on the offensive side of the ball, is just what's that going to look like? I would say defensively, it's going to be about the pass rush. They also lost a lot of defensive linemen, including Manuel Oyabadajo. He transferred into Florida. He's from the UK.
He's from Manchester, England,
Yeah, he's from England. Real big guy, super productive last year, but transferred out. And, I mean, he's going to get playing time at Florida now. So a lot of bodies moving around on those two specific position groups. So what are those going to look like, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a new look offense. Like the coordinators, we've got a new offensive coordinator, new personnel. It's really going to be how that offense reacts to that first game.
All right, on the other side of the ball, I don't know how much NDSU tape or film you've watched, but is there an area that NDSU does well that concerns you when you go to Fargo?
I mean, all of it, really. I mean, I know that y'all are a good program, a good team. I really don't have a specific position group to highlight, but it's a concern. I mean, this is a good week 0. As far as week 0 games go, this is a great one. This is a good matchup of two teams that are proven to be good college football programs. Now Jacksonville State has a lot of success in FBS, and I'm sure the Bison are too. So this will be a good looking back 10 years from now. It's look, these two programs played again after. So I mean, really, it's the entire game, I think, and I think the environment itself is actually a huge factor too.
Yeah. I mean,
I
not
don't
much
know.
has changed since 2015, the way the Bison play football. It hasn't changed. They play great defense. They run the hell out of the football. That's what
Yeah.
they do because the offensive coordinator in 15 is now the head coach now. So not a lot's going to change for us. If Jacksonville State wins, what's the key reason why they won in your mind?
Think Caden Creel comes out and has some kind of legacy type game, because if he really takes the next step, then Jack State's got a real look at capturing a conference title, and maybe with how the playoff looks nowadays, like maybe even making some kind of back end push towards that.
Yeah, I mean, a huge focal point was that the defense has a lot of consistency this season. Like that's what they've been working on, consistency. And even our defensive coordinator, when he was asked like about the position battles, the defensive backs were the ones that he's like, it's highly contested. We don't know who's going to start yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be a huge like eye-opening thing. It's going to be a huge test for a lot of these young guys. And as Caden Creel is the variable here, right? I mean, if Caden Creel goes out and has a terrible game, we're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
If he has a great game, we will. There's a good chance of us winning, right? I mean, it's
a coin.
Who knows? Yeah, like you never know. But the defensive consistency is going to be something that we're going to look at, especially from Max Sanders and Caleb Nix, like we mentioned earlier. But those defensive backs are also going to be a variable that's going to be interesting to see. And there's enough of them to swap them out if they're having a bad game and stuff. So it'll be a real test for Coach Kelly and the defense. But I think it looks good for them.
To Sam and Jaden for doing that for us. We appreciate it. Let's get into the team profile a little bit on Jacksonville State. So this is the first regular season meeting between the Bison and the Gamecocks. All three meetings previously have been in the postseason. They played in the 1977 Grantland Rice Bowl. How about that? D2 semifinals. Jacksonville won that one 31-7. The Bison were actually ranked number 1 in D2 that year, believe it or not. Then 1989, the D2 quarterfinals in Jacksonville again. Gamecocks had the best of the Bison. NDSU was a defending national champion in D2 that year. And then we all remember 2015 quite well when the Bison beat a very overhyped Jacksonville State team 37-10 in the championship game. That was their second loss of the season. Jacksonville State's only other loss was then the 6th-ranked Auburn at Jordan-Hare. They lost 24-20 in overtime. So let's go to the current roster, or to the current graphic here. 2025, they were 9-5, 7-1 in Conference USA, but 3-4 on the road. They did win their bowl game. They lost in the CUSA championship game to Kennesaw State, which has kind of become their rival in Conference USA. Charles Kelly is in his second season as their head coach. 27 wins since 2023 for the Gamecocks. That's the most in CUSA during that time. But as we said, game below 500 on the road, so not the best of road teams. But look at those FPI numbers: 100, 101. So that's an interesting thing to look at as we move forward. Going to the team comparison between the two teams, look at Jacksonville State. 28.1 points per game, just over 25. So they break even just about in their points per game. They run the ball really, really well. They throw, again, Caden Creel's their quarterback. Not the greatest thrower, but he's a really good athlete. 490 total yards per game, but just 58% in the red zone. So that's what we're looking at for Jacksonville State. So what are we looking at just with the team stats, fellas?
Yeah, and a little bit of it is skewed because the Bison offense was so electric last year.
And it was against FCS competition,
Yeah.
so take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but I think Jacksonville State seems like a really balanced team. They love to run the ball, it looks like. We'll get into the players in a bit here, but it just feels like they rely a lot on their quarterback, and sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be bad. But one thing about that, one thing I remember about the 2015 FCS title game when these two teams faced is that everyone thought, all right, this might finally be the time where a team comes in here and beats NDSU, and that didn't happen. They were not. Jenkins could run, couldn't throw well for Jacksonville State. There's about 80% Bison fans. A great day in Bison history, but that FPI thing, I mean, that is every FBS team is ranked on that, and given it's before the season, so you can take it with a grain of salt. But for these teams to be that even, it makes me think these teams are pretty well built, and it's going to be an even game.
One thing I realized about the comparison, Jack State, they score a bunch, but they let teams just impose their will on them. So it's probably going to be a shootout, but with that 242 rushing yards a game, they lose Cam Cook, one of the top 5 running back in the country last year, who's now at West Virginia. So it's going to be who's the next man up for Jack State. We already kind of have an idea of who's the next man up for NDSU.
Right.
But are they going to rely a lot more on the passing game? Are they going to kind of take advantage of NDSU's DBs? Or because, to be fair, guys, I don't think they're running on the front seven for NDSU. So Creel is going to have to spread it out on offense.
Yeah, so let's go to the players to watch here for Jacksonville State. Start with quarterback Caden Creel, 6 foot, 200 pounds, just over 1,500 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing, though. Looking at quarterback Traquan Fagan, 6'1", 190 at corner. Caleb Nix, name sounds familiar as you heard from Sam and Jaden, brother of Bo Nix at safety. We're going to talk about DeAndre Johnson a ton over this week. 6'8", 220 wide receiver, tallest receiver in college football. Defensive tackle Curtis Perry, 6'3", 280, and then Walker Osteen is an inside linebacker who's really, really kind of one of those. You need those glue guys on your team, right? He's one of those guys. So, Peter, take us through these guys. What are we looking for?
So, doing some prior research to these players, I'm not gonna focus mainly on the offense side of the ball because you guys are gonna hammer it this week.
Yeah.
But when looking at the defensive side, safety Caleb Nix, physical, he doesn't miss a lot of tackles, and yes, 38 tackles, whatever. But it's because they weren't targeting him as much because he's a playmaker. Look at Fagan's physical DB, 6'1", I'm going to say 200 pounds, 36 tackles, interceptions. Not a lot of teams like to throw his way, but with the physical, he could get called for a lot of pass interference calls or holdings and all that nature. Curtis Perry, underrated player for that defense. He's going to clog up the middle, 6'3", 280, 20 total tackles, but 4.5 tackles for loss and 2 sacks as an interior defensive line. That's hard at the FBS level. And then Walker Osteen. NDSU is going to have fits with him. 6'3", 215 as going to touch. He's at 84 tackles. But besides that, 7 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions as a linebacker. When was the last time? I can't picture anyone in that conference doing that. So that defense is going to be stout. But NDSU, they're going to have to run the ball.
Yeah, the players, I don't know him well. I know, obviously, the tall receiver. And Caden Creel, kind of a comp for him. He's a little bit like Tommy Malott. He can really run. The passing is not elite. Tommy Malott could not, wasn't going to beat you with his arm. He had a good arm. He wasn't going to beat you. I think if the Bison, we're going to get to our keys in a bit here, but if they can force him to throw the ball, I think they're going to be in good shape. But they got to keep him in the pocket because this guy can run.
Right. Again, when we think about quarterbacks, what do we think about when they come into the Dome? How do they handle the environment?
Yeah.
I understand that. Again, it's the Fargo Dome. It's only 19,000 people. They played in front of bigger crowds before. They didn't play the building as loud as this one.
Nope.
This is when this place is at a fever pitch, and you've been doing it the last couple of weeks with the attendance figure for this game. It keeps rising. It's gonna be tough for him to hear. It's just the truth. If that place is hopping like we think it's going to be, good luck to Caden Creel, A, to be able to hear, B, for his offensive line to be able to hear. So expect some false starts in the Jacksonville State offensive line. I think I made a hot take about it, back in March, about them, at least 2 false starts in that game. So hopefully free wings for everybody. And B-Dubs is still doing that sponsorship with NDSU, but just keep an eye on that as we move forward into this game. So before we get into our hot take, or into our keys for an NDSU win, here's a word from our sponsor, the NDSU Bookstore. Fan Friday is back at the NDSU Bookstore. Stop by on August 28th to get new Bison gear on sale ahead of the first game. Plus, meet Bison football players Nathan Hayes and Najee Nelson from noon to 1 p.m. and get that new gear autographed. Finish the day with Lundy's ice cream from 2 to 5 p.m. and get ready for a fun weekend. And again, thank you to the NDSU Bookstore for their continuing support of the Bison Overtime show. So let's go into our keys for a Bison victory here, guys. Number 1, play with 12. What are we talking about with that?
Yeah, it's a necessity right now. You have to sell this game out. Even if you get 18,000, that'd be great. Not only that, it needs to be loud. It hasn't been, there's been probably a handful of times where it's been Georgia Southern loud in the last 10 years. This needs to be one of them because Jacksonville State's never played in the Dome. They never played in an environment like this. And Paul Sykes going to say it in this press conference. We know it. Play with 12, and they need to do it.
And there's a reason why this is number 1, because the domino effect on 2 through 5. When the Dome is pumping, it just makes these 2 through 5. It's gonna funnel through it.
Let's go to number 2 here. Make Creel throw it. What are we talking about with this one? I mean, he has DeAndre Johnson, who's 6'8", but why are we making him throw it?
Yeah, and I kind of hinted at this earlier. This guy can run, and he can run far and fast, but he doesn't have an elite arm, and I think if the Bison keep him in the pocket and make him a pocket passer, that's going to force him to make some mistakes, and turnovers could be the difference.
Yeah, you just mainly have to contain Creel. Almost 1,100 yards on the ground rushing. So Stenbra and Woolen, they're going to have their hands full.
Yeah.
But if you play with pressure and power and make Creel throw it, you're bound to get a deflection or something.
Yep.
Right. Number 3, protect Nathan Hayes. I mean, we've seen with this offensive line last year into Illinois State in that playoff game, didn't really move the ball at all. So how can they move the ball against now an FBS defensive line with a group of offensive linemen that I don't think they've quite gelled yet?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the starting 5 is for that game, and whoever it is, they need to protect Hayes at all costs. You know, that's kind of part of the reason Peyton got dinged up in the last 2 games because, you know, the thing about Cole Payton is he kind of masked what the offensive line was. It wasn't as dominant.
Right.
Peyton his legs were elite, and you know Hayes can run and he can throw, but he's not Cole Payton. So they're going to need to protect him. He's going to have to. He needs time to throw. This is an FBS team.
And some of the practice intel that I kind of gathered is the tackles were kind of slow on the outside, but you just need to protect Hayes at all costs. You need to give him time to throw the ball to his playmakers because we don't know what these slot receivers are going to provide to the game.
Right. No, there's one way you protect the quarterbacks by running the football with DJ Scott, Miles Mitchell. So how do we think that Bison running game and offensive line is going to do against this Jacksonville State front?
Yeah, I think Jacksonville State is, I think their DBs is where they focus on recruiting because it kind of looks like they have very good defensive backs. So, you know, if they're playing well, they're going to have to run the ball. DJ Scott's going to get a lot of carries. And like Peter mentioned, all these kind of domino effect off of each other. If they can protect Hayes, that'll open up the ground game. If they can run the ball, it'll open up the passing game. But it'll be interesting to see.
And it's going to kind of counter with our 5th one, but if you pound the rock, you'll control the time of the possession in the game.
Yep.
If that means DJ Scott or Money's taking the carries, you need to pound the rock against this front because if you open that up, then the whole offensive game plan opens up.
Yeah, number 5, you already said it, win the TOP. I mean, this is a stat the Bison have coveted, they've dominated. This has been their statistic. They think, well, if we win the TOP, we're going to win the game. That's how NDSU's always played. So, again, you already mentioned it, Peter, but Ethan, I'll just say, like, winning the TOP, how important is it for NDSU?
It is extremely important. We look at the 2015 game when these teams played. NDSU, 40 minutes of time of possession. I've never seen a game like that. If the Bison take the opening kick and they go 9 minutes to score a touchdown, I mean, Jacksonville State's going to be defeated right away.
Right. Think of it also in that 2015 game. How many turnovers did they force? I think it was at least 3, because Eli Jenkins was throwing the ball wherever he wanted in that game. It usually went into a guy wearing green and gold, though, and not a guy wearing white and red. But those are our keys to a Bison win for this game. So let's move on now to the hot takes are back. We're going to make our on-the-record predictions, right? So go ahead, Ethan. Take us through your kind of guidelines before we get into this.
Yeah, it's the same as last year what we did. It's just that we're resetting like the statistics. So if you make a bold prediction and you get it right, it's a touchdown. We'll keep track of how many predictions we get right. We'll each do 3 per week, or different from last year. Last year we just did 5 and we would flip-flop. But just going through what was right and wrong over the summer, just one wrong. And Peter, you probably should have been right here. The Spurs winning the finals, you predicted on the 21st. Obviously, it didn't happen. They lost to the Knicks. And then we have 4 correct from Peter. NDSU will get 3 night games this year. That's going to happen. And then on May 7th, NDSU will have 1 nationally televised game on Fox or CBS this year. The FS1 game, Air Force. There you go. And then the same thing on the 7th, NDSU will snag 1 more player in the portal. I can't remember who they snagged. Was it Patterson
or was it Pooney?
I think that's who it was.
Maybe Naode Pooney who got
they added multiple guys, I think, over the summer, at least 2. But,
right.
And then the last one, Bison Overtime will reach 800 followers. That was correct about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
886, boys and girls. How
next
good is that?
1,000. And then I just got 1 right over the summer. I thought this was going to be bold at the time. It wasn't at all because Bison became eligible about 2 weeks after this. NDSU will be postseason eligible. It actually came true in like July. But to start the year, Peter, you're 4 for 5, 80% completion. I just got 1. Grant, nothing off the board yet. But on the line this week, the offensive line will be Babbitts, Tosted, MP, Megan, and Anane.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be wrong because MP's still going to play guard and Gage Schmidt's going to play center. So you could probably mark it in red right now, and I wouldn't be against you. But on the record predictions, you're on the clock first.
Yep, so 3 to start it out here. My first one, Mike Norvell gets fired by October 10th. He probably should have been fired last year. I don't know why they're so hesitant. But if you look at their schedule, they're going to win against New Mexico State. They're going to lose to SMU. They're going to get killed by Bama. I know they won last year. It was a fluke. They're probably going to beat Central Arkansas.
I'd hope so.
Then they play Virginia and Louisville. Virginia almost won the ACC last year. Wouldn't be shocked if they lose that. Then they play Louisville. They're not winning that game. So they could easily be 2-4 by October 10th. I think he gets fired by that time if that happens.
All right, next up for you.
This one's interesting. I'm not saying he's going to get the job. I'm just saying there will be a credible report that comes out that Tim Polasek is a top candidate for either the Iowa or Wisconsin job. Luke Fickell is history. I mean, unless he wins 6 games, he's gone. Iowa, I mean, he's going to retire, isn't he?
At some point, Kirk Ferentz will eventually retire as a head coach.
He's going to have to retire.
I believe he's like 73.
Yeah, and I think Jason Eck's probably a top candidate for both of these jobs, and he's ahead of the curve because he's been at FBS longer than Polasek. Take it for what you want. But then my last one, unfortunately, we're going back to the attendance predictions. NDSU and Jack State will not be a sellout. Now, a sellout technically is 18,700. The Bison haven't gotten many sellouts in the last few years. I don't think this one will be. I do think it'll be 18,000 plus. I think it'll be loud. Those are my on-the-record predictions for Week 0.
All right, Peter, what do you got?
I'm going to go with that first one, someone I'm going to touch on, and the second one, obviously.
Okay.
But Mike Norvell gets fired. I did not understand how hard that schedule was until I kind of took a little peek at it. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, that's history.
I agree with the Polasek will be a top candidate because I think Fickell's fighting for it. They just poured a ton of NIL money into that roster, and if they don't produce results, gone. Mm-hmm. With Kirk, he's getting up there in age. His son really didn't do the most as a defensive coordinator, and I think they're going to hire from outside of the camp because they need to score points, boys.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at Wisconsin. That Culver's money may not go towards anything because they play Notre Dame, Penn State, USC. Who am I missing? They play the Gophers. They play Iowa. I don't see 6 wins in there.
The thing about the Wisconsin schedule, it's pretty easy for a Penn State or a Michigan.
They are not one of those, right?
It's Wisconsin.
Yeah. All right, let's go to your predictions. What do you got?
I have NDSU will rush for more than 230 yards versus Jack State. I just have a feeling in my body that they're just going to dominate the line of scrimmage. My second take will be an NDSU linebacker will finish with 10 total tackles versus Jack State.
Okay.
Ambitious.
And then a Mountain West team will defeat a Power 4 team in 2026.
Okay.
I think there is a prime position this week with San Jose and USC. No, I'm just kidding. No. I think it's gonna be Hawaii and Stanford, but that'll be when we get to the pick'em.
Okay. The one I look at is the Mountain West team beating the Power 4. What I'm more worried about is if Montana State beats Nevada. That's what I'm more worried about than I am anything else. But your other two, I think, are spot on.
And one thing to note is this: I was looking at this because is this a touchdown prediction? I look back, and it's happened every year over the last 15 years. So, but before Grant, before you get to yours,
yeah, go ahead.
The one 230 yards or more that has not happened a lot against Jack State. So that one will be a touchdown if it's correct. And then my Mike Norvell prediction will also be a touchdown if it's correct. And then I'll do the same for you, Grant, once you get yours.
All right, so here are my three for this week. Let's take it one by one here. First one, I think the running backs for NDSU find the end zone twice. I think they get to the goal line a couple of times. They're able to smash a couple in with DJ, or if Money breaks one for a big game. Neoti Pooney, by the way, I was tempted to make something about him. Mm-hmm. If he gets like a 50-yard touchdown run, don't be surprised. That guy can flat fly. You watch the guy in practice. He gets loose. Whew, good luck catching him. Let's go with the second one here that I have. The Gamecocks will be held under 150 rushing yards. We already mentioned the running back has transferred out. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's coming back for them in the ground game. It only happened twice in 2025. They were held under 150 yards when they played Middle and when they played Troy. Troy's a big rivalry game for them, but Middle Tennessee's holding under 150. I think the Bison can do that as well. And number three, I think this is going to, if Jackson Williams scores a touchdown, they're going to win every game they play. Jackson Williams is paramount for this team. If Jackson Williams, kick return, punt return, end around, reverse pass, just straight up catch for a touchdown, if he finds the end zone, this team is going to be tough to beat. So those are mine for this week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I like them. I think that second one is going to be a touchdown if you get it right, just because it only happened twice last year, and I think the quarterback alone could go for 50 to 75 yards, and then I think the running backs just have to get a few in there, but. I hope the Bison can run the ball well, and that's the first one. And Jackson Williams seems to find the end zone pretty frequently, and he'll get his chances this year.
A Jackson Williams touchdown to open up FBS in the Fargo Dome would be electric.
How about a kickoff return right away?
Oh my God, that would do it. That would do it. So just trying to think. How did you guys score your first FBS touchdown with NDSU in the game? I think mine was a pass to the flat. I mean, was yours like a quarterback power, I assume, with
Yeah,
Nathan
probably.
Hayes? What was yours, Peter? Do you even remember?
Probably, I think it was a dive. I think
Okay.
it was a dive with DJ Scott. When I play FBS, I can't be like, I'm not going to go West Coast with NDSU. I
Right.
just got to go pound it.
All right, so the pick segment has returned, but no FCS games will be picked. We are going all FBS games, so we'll have a new Pick'em trophy this year. The old one resides in my. It's like the Dakota Marker. It's retired and kind of in the closet. Mine's in my office, and you guys can't touch it. So we're gonna go with our brand new Pick'em segment. So all FBS games. We're gonna open it with Hawaii and Stanford. The Trees are a 5.5-point favorite. What do we got, Ethan?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see Stanford was favorites in this game. I looked at the roster. You can take these roster rankings for what you want, but Hawaii seemed a little higher on there, and Micah Alejado, I think I pronounced that right.
Yeah,
he
give it to you.
seems to. I feel like he's in for a big year, and they got a tough game coming up with UNLV a week later, so they got to get this game. I'm going to take Hawaii.
Okay, Peter.
I have Stanford. You're going to have Micah in there. You're going to have a veteran team, but Stanford starting Davis Warren.
That is a pull.
He is the guy he is the lone quarterback that beat the national champion Ohio State in the shoe 2 seasons ago. In the overall series, Stanford is 4-1 against Hawaii. But Hawaii won the last game last season in Hawaii, in Honolulu. This is the first time Hawaii's come into California, and it'll be Coach Pritchard's first season. He was the Commanders' quarterbacks coach last season. I think they revamped that roster, and I think Stanford's got on the big.
I got to see it with Stanford. I'm not there yet. They had Troy Taylor. He was a disaster. They had Frank Reich for 1 year. I don't quite get the interim head coach for just 1 year, then you just let him go anyway. That made no sense. Andrew Luck, I think you're outsmarting yourself. You're a smart man. I think you outsmarted yourself there. I'm just going to go who I think is the better team. I think that's Hawaii. Alejado is a Heisman guy. I like what I'm seeing with Hawaii. I'm just going to take the Rainbow Warriors in that one. Game 2. North Carolina State at Virginia. The game's in Charlottesville. 5.5-point favorite are the Cavaliers. What do we got, Ethan?
Yeah, so I'm high on Virginia. They almost won the ACC last year. Virginia, I had them in my top 25. I think they brought a lot back. NC State is kind of a wild card. It seems like they're never that great. They're never that bad. I'm just going to take Virginia.
They beat JMU last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my instincts and take Virginia.
I'm taking NC State, and I hope this isn't how it goes all the way, but both have immense NFL talent. It's going to be the C.J. Bailey versus Bo Pritchard game. So it's two, quarterbacks that have first-round pick aspirations. Like you said, Virginia's coming off an ACC championship berth. I think they're getting overlooked this season. And NC State lost its running back, Hollywood Smothers. But kind of a good nugget. NC State is 4-0 against Virginia all time, including a win last season where it was 35-31. Mm-hmm. I think C.J. Bailey is going to be a top 10 quarterback in college football this year. He's more experienced. Bo Pritchard is kind of coming off an injury from his last season at Missouri. Give me NC State.
I'm just going to take the home team and take Virginia. I like Virginia because NC State, kind of a bit of a mid-program through and through. Virginia finally had a great year last year making the ACC championship game. I'm just going to go with my gut and go with the home team. I'm going to take Virginia. Game 3, now this one's going to be fun. Game in Dublin, the Fighting Bill Belichick's take on TCU. TCU, 7.5-point favorite. Who do we like in this one?
Yeah, I'm going with the Frogs. I actually liked Bill Belichick. I was a fan of him and Tom Brady back in the day, but he should have stayed retired. He's not built for college.
No.
He's just not. North Carolina's going to be a disaster. He's going to be fired. I'm taking the Frogs.
I'll save you the time, Grant.
Go ahead.
It's a universal pick. All three across the board.
Yeah, that's true. We're all taking TCU.
There's no UNC is a dumpster fire. They bring in new 80 new players. That's unheard of, and that's just bad mesh chemistry.
As a great Brian Gumble would say. Let's move on. Let's move on to Memphis and UNLV, a new conference of NDSU, taking on the Memphis Tigers. UNLV 5.5-point home favorites. Who do we like in this one?
This would have been really fun if Silverfield didn't go to Arkansas. Because,
yeah, that's true.
Memphis was I like to do my bracketology every week for FBS, and last year I had Memphis in the playoff at some point, like midway through the year, and that just didn't happen. Great G6 program, UNLV, great G6 program. Memphis lost too much. I'm taking UNLV.
This is probably my, if I'm looking at the schedule, for week 0, I'm circling this game because This is G6 playoff implications. Whoever wins this game is most likely, if they win their conference, is most likely going to go to the college football playoff. Yeah, Memphis lost their coach, they lost everyone. Give me UNLV, but I love this quarterback matchup. It's Aaron Nolan versus Jackson Arnold, a battle of the high-level prospects. Nolan couldn't cut it at Ohio State and South Carolina. Arnold couldn't cut it at Auburn and what was the others? And Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so it's a battle of the best G6 teams in America. Guys, this is the first time they've played each other. They are both heavy favorites in their conference to go over 10 wins. Dynamic offenses. But my only knock on both of these teams, they both have something to prove defensively.
Yeah, no doubt.
So give me UNLV.
Yeah, I'm going to take UNLV as well. You guys made all my points already. This is a big game for UNLV. Just say, hey, this is our year to be that group of 6 team. We've seen Boise. I've seen Georgia Southern be picked as that 12 team. Maybe the Bison, the dark horse, who knows? This, to me, is the G6. This is where you plant your flag and say, hey, we are that team to make the G6 playoff spot. So I'm going to take UNLV as well. So and then the game we're all going to pick, that's the game that we are most anticipated to watch, Jacksonville State, North Dakota State. What do we like in this game?
Yeah, the Bison started out as like 10.5-point favorites, and it's gone down a bit. I would take the 6.5. I'm taking the Bison. I just think there's too much built into this game. I think the juice is going to be insane in the dome all day. The north side of Fargo, it's going to be electric. I'm taking the Bison.
You're asking me who I'm taking?
Yes,
you know
I
who
am.
I'm taking. I'm taking NDSU.
Okay.
I think the keys of the game we covered. I don't think Jack State is physical enough for this Bison offense. The dome is going to be pumping.
Yeah.
It's going to be loud. 4:30 kickoff, prime spot on CBS Sports Network.
There you go.
Brian Kelly.
Brian
Yeah.
Kelly in the booth for his first analyst role. It's gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna take the points. I think it's gonna be. I think it might be close. But there's so much riding for NDSU. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is gonna go crazy. I mean, Fargo's in a frenzy right now. You go to Shields, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Fans are ready for this moment, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking NDSU too. That's no surprise. This is where, like I said, with UNLV and planting the flag, this is where you say, hey, we dominate FCS. We were so good for so long. People said, should we make the move? Should we not make the move? There are a lot of people on both sides of the aisle being very vocal about why they should or why they shouldn't have. This is where I'm at. This is where Tim Paul said, go, no, we should be here, and this is why we should be here. We're going to go beat a team who won a conference last year and go prove why. So I got NDSU winning. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Again, that line did come down from 10.5, but you take the Bison, they're at home. They don't lose often at home. It takes what? A quarterback breaking his thumb, scoring all 3 sides of the ball, but you can't move the ball. It takes a fluke for them to lose. I'm gonna take NDSU and feel good about it. Score predictions, what do we think?
I'm a little more ambitious for this one. At first I would have said, 24-21 type of game. I'm actually gonna go 34-17. I just think that I think it's gonna be close to through the first half, and then I just think that the noise, the atmosphere, the defense, I think they're just going to swallow up Caden Creel. I think he's going to have a tough day. I think they're going to force him to throw the ball, and he's going to make some bad mistakes. 34-17 is my pick.
27-20. I think NDSU is going to dominate the ball, but I think Jack State's going to get a couple late scores in the fourth quarter. But that's my score.
All right, I'm going to go 24-17. I thought I was going to go 24-10, but I love Code Green. This is their first game against a really, really good opponent with a really good receiver on the outside. Jacksonville State at least score 17. But I think the Bison do just enough to get to that 24 mark to win the game. So we'll do this every week too, just so we can clear up what station the Bison will be on every week. So CBS Sports Network has the game for you. It's at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday inside the Dome. Rich Walls and Peter's favorite Brian Kelly will be in the booth to call the game. Radio, as always, is on 1660. Crowd pattern, keep this, just so you're aware, stripe out. So odd sections will wear yellow, even sections wear green. Please be aware of which section you're in so you don't stand out. If you need last minute apparel, visit our friends at the NDSU bookstore for your NDSU clothing needs. Final thoughts for wrap up here, guys.
I'm just excited to be back, man. It's going to be a fun year. The fact that we get to be the first to cover this FBS thing as students is going to be electric, and I'm excited to do it with you too.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the game. I'm excited for the whole NDSU football season. My only thing on the stripe out, we do not be part of a Where's Waldo picture, where it's like a blue T-shirt and like a yellow section.
There'll be that red section in the corner. We don't got to worry about that. And all the other sections are full. This is going to be fun. This year is going to be fun. Hopefully this game is enjoyable. We will have pregame and postgame coverage. These two will be guiding the pregame show. I'll be involved in the postgame show because I'll be in the booth with Rich and Brian Kelly. No, I will not get you his autograph. You got to do that yourself, Peter. We thank you for watching. Follow us on X and Instagram at Bison Overtime. If you missed the show, you can podcast it on Spotify and can watch a replay of tonight's show on the Bison Information YouTube channel tomorrow morning, afternoon, depending on when we can get it out. But our thanks to Sam Napoli and Jaden Gainey from Jacksonville State for being on the show. And thanks to our technical team, producer Jack Higgins, director Cash Roman for keeping the lights on for us. For Ethan Eibach and Peter Rebelka, I'm Grant Hubbard. Thank you for watching. Horns up and go Bison. We'll see you next Monday. We'll see you at the Dome.